My name is Matt Bolish. I work for the Film Society of Lincoln Center, and I help plan our Convergence programming, which is our immersive media kind of, our exploration of immersive media, I should say. We'd like to welcome you to the 50th New York Film Festival. For the next 17 days, we'll be exploring our past and kind of looking at our future as well. When I say we, I mean film and new media, which is kind of a dark word these days. People don't like to throw that one around. You know, it's just an exciting time. So we really thank you all for coming out and for supporting this kind of emerging work. Today we are really excited to have Caitlin Burns here and the team from I almost said the wrong title because it's such a good title. Can I whisper the title? Am I allowed to whisper what? McCarren Park was formerly known as Jurassic Park Slope. And we're going to get sued now, but that's fine. I did say it, and we're a nonprofit. We have no money, so come and get it. Come and get it. Oh, yeah, we didn't make it, so we have nothing to worry about. I'm just talking about it. Yeah, Jurassic Park Slope. Again, I just did it again. Yeah. We're a little crazy here. All right, so anyhow, we're going to get started in just a second here, and we're going to call Caitlin up to tell us a little bit about what we're doing. Thank you all very much for coming, and let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Hi to all of you. I appreciate you sneaking out of the PGA panel to come here for only a little bit late start for McCarren Park. This is a project that is near and dear to my heart because I made it. And this is the largest screen it has ever been seen on. This possibly may be the largest screen it is ever seen on, unless we get a chance to project on the moon, which I'll take. But today we're going to be doing a set of annotated scenes. So you're going to see a good portion of the film between now and the second half showing at 4. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it was like to make this project and how we put it together on multiple platforms. All right. So who are we and why are we doing this to you? I'm Caitlin Burns, and I'm a transmedia producer, and that handsome fella who isn't the dinosaur is Steele Filipek, and he is my co-producer and co-author on this project. He wasn't able to attend today, bear fighting accident, but if you like what you see, if you enjoy funny things, you can read his video game commentary at pixeltech.com. And I strongly recommend that you troll him at Words of Steel, especially during this panel. So we met one another in our first class at college, and we rapidly discovered that we both had a lot of things in common that we adored. We both loved dinosaurs, we had an extremely powerful love of B-movies, and because we are creative denizens of New York, we've often been called these things. And luckily enough, as friends and as colleagues, we've been able to work at a company called Starlight Run Entertainment together on some very large media properties. We implement this technique, which is telling a story across multiple platforms, allowing each piece to stand alone, but to all weave together into a tapestry of delicious story. And doing that, we decided that we wanted to explore how you do that if you don't have $500 million, if you don't have a studio infrastructure. And for us, we both came out of theater. We were really big fans of putting people in a physical place. And so we set these rules for ourselves. We decided that we were going to make a charming parody. It had to be funny, it had to be fun. It needed to put the audience into a physical place. It had to exist on multiple platforms. It had to be affordable. This entire project cost us less than $3,500 total. And the core goal that we've been working on for this entire time is to create something so anyone, the people in this room and anyone who comes across it, can figure out how to make it better than we did. How can you take these tools and these ideas that we're putting forward and actually do something remarkable with them? And with that in mind, I am going to show you the first scene of McCarren Park.
solve your problem? I sincerely doubt it. Remember that time when you were 15 and snuck out with your friends and I covered for you?
You ratted me out the first chance you had.
Well, now you can return the favor for setting you on the straight and narrow.
Okay, who's the jerk?
Ellie, you remember my brother, right? You remember Ellie, the paleobotanist, right?
Did I say jerk? I meant asshole.
I'm sorry for the dramatic entrance. I'm in a hurry. I'll get right to the point. I like you. Both of you. I can tell with people it's a gift. I'm throwing a party, the best party ever. I know the manager of this place, and I've exhausted myself finding the right mix of music, artists, and something really spectacular, spared no expense. Except that there's no budget. It's going to make Burning Man look like a petting zoo.
What the hell are you talking about?
It's a party, honey. It's a place where people congregate together and have a good time. You might like it.
Not for everyone, just the cool kids. It's happening next month, so I have to get a permit. And there's this one particular pebble in my shoe. Alright, I have this backer's Wall Street suit I know from college, and he's loaded. But he says I have to get a reputable promoter. And there's this one chick I really want to bang.
What? What does this have to do with us?
Not to put too fine a point on it, she likes comic books, and you're the closest thing I have to a celebrity. You guys could just come with me to this party tonight.
You could make the magic happen.
What kind of party is it?
Well, it's right up your alley.
So, as you can see, we always intended this to be on smaller screens, but I have to say that it holds up better than my wildest imaginings. Except that the cursor has disappeared on this laptop. Just a moment. Well, one of the things you might have noticed about that is that sorry, guys. Oh, okay. All right. Yes, thank you. Thank you, audience member. This is creative collaboration at its finest. So what you may or may not have noticed about that scene was that it took place literally during a freezing rainstorm. A lot of those camera angles were built around the idea that we had to all literally fit underneath one umbrella. So what exactly is it about the people in that scene? What is it about the very sort of rawness of this project that inspired people to join us, even though they would be sitting in the rain, memorizing lines and put themselves out for absolutely no money? Well, as producers and creators, we knew that we had to keep it really easy for our collaborators, and we had to keep it very fun. We were doing this in our own spare time as well, because we had jobs and lives, at least in theory, and it was something that was an ethos that we kept throughout the production, because we were doing this with essentially our beer money, we were doing this in our evening time, and we were asking people to give of their time at the same time. And that's something that I hope we can carry through into, we hope we carry through into our other productions where we do have budgets and we do have a significantly higher infrastructure. So what is it that inspires people to join in this? You need to be able to look at your collaborators and understand what it is that they want and figure out how you can help them get there. If they have a band, how can you help their music get seen? If they want to be actors, how can you properly expose their work to the world? And if you're thinking about that, the rest of your project will come together in a way that's very sensible. Moving on, here we are at scene 2.
What is this face? What is your problem with Ariana?
Just feel like So, criminy. Bump, bump, bump. All right, you have to be interesting. Even in your earliest stages when you're finding collaborators, you have to find a way to inspire people. For us, that was having an intriguing name, but also because we went out and we proved our concept. We took some really low-budget Ed Wood-style dinosaurs to a few events in Brooklyn, and we made sure that we were taking pictures of everything we did. It was something that got people laughing. It got people engaged when we physically had them in a space. And with that, we were able to use that to get the interest of groups that wanted to partner with us to make things, and the people who ended up becoming the cast and crew of our project. But really, what can you do if you don't have a lot of money? You always, you know, if you're making an Ed Wood-style film, you will do whatever it is that you need to do. We used plaster and paper mache to make some pretty intriguing dinosaurs. But what we really are best at is thinking carefully about our story. We knew that we had a variety of ways we could start telling this story, and we knew that we were going to make some sort of film interaction with the space. As we started looking at each one of these things, it became clearer how we would first interact with them in terms of what we could afford and what our time would allow us to do. And those continued to grow over the course of the months and years that we worked on this project. But we always made sure that we were being as clear, as open, honest, and excited as we could be with the people who we were collaborating with. We were not trying to make Avatar, we were trying to make McCarren Park. And the other thing that we did was we took all of our crazy ideas and we wrote them down. Every silly thing that passed through our mouths got written down and assimilated into our notes. And those yielded just a profound amount of content, a profound amount of scenes that we were able to put online, that were able to find their way into the final script, and that were able to become events and experiences in and of themselves. So, back in Brooklyn, Alan, Ellie, and Soot got their first taste of Brooklyn's saurian inhabitants. In this particular case, you're not going to see this scene today because it's a bit too long. But they are eagerly awaiting the arrival of Ellie's friends from Los Angeles, who, well, maybe not quite so eagerly. Sorry, guys, just a second. It is here. You know, when we opened this park, nothing worked. When they first opened Disneyland, nothing worked.
Oh my god, I missed you so much. How's Silver Lake? Meh. Load. Pull up upstairs. Yeah. So, what's with all the dinosaurs? What about the dinosaurs? It's Williamsburg. Oh.
So you write comics?
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Bob Kane? I know he's dead. He was always my favorite artist. No, writer, artist, writer, you know. No, sorry, it was Todd McFarlane. Did you read Spawn? Is that what your comic is like? Oh, I always love the beefy guys, you know, the ones with really big and thick glasses.
Oh. Hey,
Joe.
Joe. Listen, how long have you and Ariana been together?
Oh, no, I'm not that kind of boyfriend. No. So don't you think the superheroes need to start wearing more spandex? I mean, the whole leather thing is good. It's actually great, but nothing looks better on
So, we found our collaborators, and we were taking our dinosaurs out to a few of these events. And what this taught us was that when you're starting a project out, when you're building your audience, you need to be able to have experiments that are safe to fail, where you can see what really starts to work. For us, the most impressive thing that we never believed would work was we posted 10 flyers, black and white text, in and around Williamsburg, because we knew that that was where we were going to eventually set this. And remarkably, it found its way all over press and the internet. We did radio interviews, we talked about it, and it was in no small part because we were begging Bill Murray to be in our movie. We set up a hotline, we reached out, and the best response we got was a voicemail that was just someone yelling, "Nerds!" at us. And frankly, that said to us that we were on the right track. But this was a flurry of attention when we were really only beginning to talk about our script. And in the time between those flurries of press attention and those flurries of audience attention, there's a lot of empty space. So you have to remember that as the producer, as the creator, you will always be the person most interested in your project. You will always be your project's most ardent ambassador. And we put our heads together and we were able to take advantage of the free tools and the free networks that existed, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and we were able to reach out to other creators we knew to make contests and really start to build a creative community and a creative body of work that helped bring us through as we were developing the project and as we were producing it. We did a few live events in and around Williamsburg, and these ended up helping us scout our shoots. It ended up getting us even more cast and crew, and it eventually led to a lot of the folks that we reached out to publicize and to engage with our future events and future shoots. So back in Brooklyn, the group has arrived at Hammy's Pad to pregame. They discuss life and love and everything, and especially booze, and they're introduced to another roommate who is Jackson. Jackson, his life mostly takes place online. We had a significant Tumblr and Twitter account for him that is still running. He focuses primarily on music and the scene, but he also had a lot of commentary about his Ankylosaurus landlord, a lot of the social commentary that really comes into play when you're living in Brooklyn, and there are dinosaurs, and there are people, and all of everyone is mixing together, and you're never quite sure where you stand. So,
Do that Japanese though. Do that Japanese though. Come on. Come on.
What?
You suck.
You suck.
Obviously very compelling. Oh. Ladies.
They track each other.
Excuse me, ladies, if you'd like to take a look at some fractals, I'd love to show you my equation.
So you have girls in bikinis spinning hula hoops, and the hula hoops are on fire.
Yeah, that's like a Tuesday.
We are going to make $1 million.
Why don't you just say that she wanted to go test her bet for irregularities, or that she wanted to show them your blanket fort?
You have a blanket fort? Wicked.
That's pretty sweet.
Wicked.
Checkmate.
Doesn't even make sense.
Yo, Hammy, we're gonna go to this party or what?
Yeah, I thought we were going out.
Hi, people. Yo, Hammy, we got to talk about the thing with the stuff.
Yo, Wayne, you all right for this month?
Yo, Wayne, you owe me rent for last month.
I'm a cool hunter, guys. I got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm going to do some business tonight. Got to sort it out.
Yo, I can't buy swag forever.
She come with us tonight. Remember that DJ? Film market? I'm gonna
sure you are. You got her number and you didn't even call her. How are you gonna sort it out if you can't even talk to her?
Have you ever even seen a woman? If you put a pool table, a sandwich, and a woman in a room together, could you even figure it out? What do you see when you look in the room, boy?
An agent of the new, a seller of the hot, a man about town.
That was so douchey. I'm surprised you didn't apply for a permit. You guys head out. I'm gonna be waiting for a delivery, and you two obviously have something to discuss that's not at all suspicious or vague.
We could wait in the chaotorium.
Let's go. Let's go to the party. It's in Greenpoint, right?
Yeah. Greed's place.
Text us when you're ready to meet up, okay? Let's go. Yep.
See you in a minute.
Hey, come on, let's go. Come on. No chaotorium. Let's just go to the party. Yeah, yeah. That's right.
Come on, come on.
Girl like walk, boy. You know how I feel about walking.
Hey, look, a distraction.
Okay, so we were working with some talent. But what resources did we really have? We were lucky enough to find a guy with an actual camera. We optimized it for mobile and for different screens than this one, but we started out with much worse quality when we were trying to work exclusively with smartphones and with found things that you could really get even if you had nothing else. But what we had was characters, actors, a script, an audience, because we'd been building those early events. We actually had a few hundred people who were coming to us daily or at least a couple times a week to hear about hipsters, hear about dinosaurs, and hear about our progress. And we also have the same things that pretty much anyone has, at least here in New York, the internet, phones, paper, Brooklyn, art supplies, newspaper, flower paste, and gumption, which is the most important of them all. But we made a really smart choice for the building of our audience and the building of our project. We started from the beginning knowing that this was going to be something that we wanted to turn into an educational curriculum on this technique of storytelling. And so we made the production part of the project from day one. All of our successes and failures were documented in our production blog. And we started building our rehearsals and our characters as the characters tweeting. We had our characters reaching out online, doing scenes together, pursuing their interests, and developing their craft together in a way that it was accessible and available for all of our potential audience members to see. We also were lucky enough to find an access point from the Transmedia meetup here in New York City. We were able to do a live scene between Ellie and Malcolm with a bit of theater from our dear friend Alan. And we did that live with another presentation about what it was we were doing, because we were also looking for collaborators. And that was really successful. We were able to find the group that later became the technical service we used to put the film out onto phones as a walking tour. So back to Brooklyn. The group has left the pre-gaming pad, and they're making their way down the streets of a darkening Williamsburg.
So then basically, it comes through the title because we've been having like hundreds of thousands of authors and stuff, which I only finished recently. And it's Duke Fabian's history was amazing because he was the one that actually wrote all of the titles for like the Apocalypse, the X-Men Apocalypse series, which was you know what I mean? You ever watch it? It was so cool. But anyway, like it was the most successful one they've ever released, and they've never been able to release one as successful again because he is that good.
Fine. 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 Oh no, poor thing. Is she okay?
Ellie, take a look at this.
It's okay, baby girl. That's interesting. What are her symptoms?
Imbalance, disorientation, labor breathing. Seems to happen every 6 weeks or so.
6 weeks.
About the growing time on a good leg patched up for local.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these are dilated. Take a look.
They are. Up and down.
This is all fascinating, but I have to insist that some of us get to a bar.
Okay. You know what? You guys go on without me. I really want to help get her home. You know which way home?
It's all right. I speak truck drive.
You just know towards a Metropolitan Avenue stop. A walk will do her good.
Nice accent.
Thanks. Really?
Yeah. Go on without me. I'll catch up.
Are you sure?
It's harmless.
Now!
You got it. You got it.
So, we'd gotten the initial sense of production together. We started working on it, but we knew that we needed to expand. We needed to take all of the beauty that you see up here and make more of that, because we love you. So one of the things that we did, in addition to the stories online, and a number of those online stories actually key to things that you've already heard in the scenes today. Troll Market was a fictional club that we created where everybody had scenes on Friday nights. The gamekeeper actually had met Ellie and Alan before through a variety of travails. And that was the guy in the hat with the bad accent. We also looked at ways to relate the fictional to the real world of Brooklyn because the setting was very important to us. We put together a political ad for George Martinez in 2010. He was running for Congress as a write-in candidate, and he did a fantastic Velociraptor awareness campaign ad for us. We complemented that with flyers, the same way we had had our initial success. And this got a fair number of views. It wasn't as successful. It didn't get quite the pickup that we had gotten for the first round of flyers, but it did add to our audience, and it gave us something new that we could talk about. And the real trick with continuing to do these sort of small tests was that every time something didn't go our way or didn't explode the way that we'd hoped, it really did teach us what we could do next and show us what we could do that would be more successful.
What a douche. Nice burn, dude. Show it. Cool hunter, what does that even mean?
So, this chick, she's hot, and she's a promoter. Does she have anything else going on for her?
Yeah, total babe. Absolutely going to bang her.
I've seen your live journal, dude. You're into her like a 12-year-old girl. Drawing your name in hearts. Next pictures of My Little Ponies and shit.
Hey, bronies are a legitimate subculture. That's racist.
Dude, no one has a live journal anymore. You of all people should know that.
So, Wayne, do me a favor, be useful for once in your life and get me a beer?
Ha ha ha. You didn't say the magic word.
Please, get me a beer.
There's no beer. Seriously, though, that chick is banging. I would not mind tapping that.
Dude, I really like this girl. Come on.
So, you know, Wayne, if you don't give me that rent in a little while, I'm gonna have to kick you out.
I go where the cool goes. I'm like a wandering nomad, searching out the next big thing. But for now, I'd settle for some beer.
Yeah, alcohol helps dull the pain of your worthless oblivion, huh?
Seriously, dude, don't get up. I'll get the beer. Someone's got to contribute something around here. Oh, and you got something.
You said that like I don't know there's whipped cream on my head right now.
Well, you know, it's important that he makes sure that his contributions are felt in some small way.
Well, I just know I'm not losing this race for anything.
Yeah, that's what she said. Is that what he said?
So, how do you make the choice of what storylines you're going to pursue on multiple platforms? The real question is, what paths haven't you taken? What stories haven't been told? In that scene alone, you could have a game that responds to what they're playing. What happens to Wayne immediately afterwards could become its own web series or its own longer form piece. We wrote everything down. We made it sure that in every production meeting and in every cast meeting, we had people throwing crazy ideas at us. One of those crazy ideas was a dinosaur political scandal because of some local politicians in the news. Someone might have tweeted a picture of their tail to someone they shouldn't have. We wanted to follow the gamekeeper out to bars to see him pick up chicks in that particular guise. And these two guys, DJ Littlefoot and MC Sharptooth, they featured into some of the live events that we threw and some of the music that we had created, but we didn't get as much chance to explore their rivalry and its impact on different people in Brooklyn as we might have hoped. So, with that in mind, Here we go. So, who got eaten? Who had the Ghostbusters ringtone? Will they ever find the party? Will you ever see any dinosaurs? Will they ever find booze? Will Hammy score? And will Alan and Ellie ever move in together? The answer to these and more are going to be held at 4 p.m. in this theater for the vastly superior second half of our panels. What hipster dinosaurs can teach you about transmedia, how to get noticed without paying for it. If you hated this, feel free to get a hold of me on Caitlin_Burns at Twitter, or Jurassic Park Slow at Twitter, or yell at Steele at Words of Steele on Twitter, and let us know about it. This is how we improve. With that, I can open it up to the audience. Keep in mind that many of your burning questions may be answered in the second half of the film, including but not limited to a much better selection of scenes, because as it went on, we learned, we grew, and we made a better work. All right. Thank you.